Hello, 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 hello. I think it's working. Yes, it's working. The mic is working on YouTube now. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Unfortunately, the links are not going to work anywhere else. Oh, that's the sad part. Hopefully, they figure it out when they get to YouTube. That link doesn't work, but we're just going to go with it. We're going to go with the flow, and whatever happens, happens. So that's why it's good to have your notifications on. Have the notifications on for moments like this. Um, we can just keep it going. So, um, as I was saying, now I have to start all over again because it wasn't working on YouTube. My name is Jasmine, owner and founder of Black Sunflower. Started off as a candle company, but now so much more. And today I kind of want to give you guys a rundown on what has been going on with Black Sunflower, all of the changes. Hello, oh my gosh. Hey, girl, long time no see. Um, Listen, there have been so many changes. I just closed the retail portion of the candle business. The collective has been extremely silent the past few weeks, and we have a lot of things in store. I think that the fact that I'm a very private person, I have a tendency to grow and build stuff in the background in silence. And what it ends up doing is it ends up alienating people from what's happening. People think, oh, she's just quiet, nothing's happening, but there's so much going on. And so before I get into the class lesson, where I'm going to kind of give a rundown of a new series that I have put together. And I wouldn't even call it a new series. It's just a combination of a lot of things that I've already done. Hey, Erica. Um, I kind of want to give a kind of short timeline of what's been going on, some lessons learned, and hopefully you guys can learn from a few of the things that I'm about to share with you today. So first of all, gosh, I don't even know where to start. So for almost a year and a half now, I have been in a building phase of the collective. The collective originally started off as just an idea. As much as I love candles, my joy has always been education and teaching. So before I even jumped into candles, I was in property management for a long time. I got my dream job, which was a regional sales trainer for leasing. And then even before that, I was a personal trainer. And all I've done is educate, uplift, help people grow. It's what I've always loved to do. So when I transitioned into the collective, I knew that I wanted to teach, but I didn't know exactly how I wanted to teach. I didn't know what I exactly needed to teach. I knew it was business, but I didn't know in what capacity. And so in the beginning of 2022 that I actually started with the collective. And it's been a lot of data gathering and learning and understanding that the way that people normally teach nowadays isn't necessarily conducive to the way people learn nowadays, especially when it comes to everyone wanting to start a business. Because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If you have not realized it, entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. And quite frankly, if you do not have the gumption to go through with it, or just the delusion, I'm going to be honest, the delusion to go through with it, you might end up disappointing yourself. Okay. And so, one of the things that I really want people to understand through what I'm sharing today is that, first of all, I appreciate everyone's patience, everyone's continued support, and know that over the past few months, I have been building a team. Up until the end of last year, beginning of this year, everything has just been myself. And I'm only one person. Not only am I one person, I'm a mom. It's me and my son, and I have to support and take care of him. And I've poured so much time and energy and my all into the collective that there became a time that I realized, in order for me to move forward, in order for me to grow, in order for me to continue to help people in the way that I want to help, I need to get help. I need to start delegating. And I've wanted to do it for a while, and I've done it in small capacities here and there over time. But it wasn't until the beginning of this year that I really buckled down. And so I went from just me to, at one point, I think I was up to 13 people. I have a little bit more than that now. We're currently training more people. But to give you an idea, all right. My team, we have 7 core members in the Philippines. And I'm so grateful. At the beginning of the year, I was connected with my executive assistant. Her name was Gladys. She ended up having to leave due to family issues, but she blessed me with her friends and her family as the rest of my team, and they have now become my family. I have graphic designers, I have web developers, I have bookkeepers, I have just amazing people who are super intelligent and super smart. And very rarely, if anybody's ever hired people, the chances of getting just one person that's amazing is hard. But to get a full team across the ocean that is amazing is even more rare. And I attribute that to the way I actually hire. I don't hire for the positions, I hire for the people, and I hire for what they love to do. Because anybody that's working within my business, I want them to enjoy what they're doing. Okay. So I also was blessed with two interns, and this is amazes me too. So my two interns were here, and over the summer, they worked with me through this amazing program where the program actually paid their salaries, which I'm in Seattle and it's expensive. Minimum wage is getting up there. And so it's hard. And that's why I outsourced overseas at first to help kind of get that leg up. And I've now hired both of them as well. So now we're a team of about 13. We are currently now, we also have in the queue because I have a whole virtual agents, I have a virtual assistant agency. So we have people in the queue ready to go to work. But that's a story towards the end. There was no way that I was able to um, realistically provide myself, my services, my education to my clients, as well as train my team at the same time. And it became very evident to where my communication started breaking down, where things were kind of left to fault, not on purpose, just because there was a lot going on. And at one point, I had to just stop. I had to stop and I had to reevaluate what I had going on. And I had to make sure I focused my energy in one place. And if I want to continue to help people, I have to make sure the team that I have built to help them is ready to go. So a lot of the time that I've been spending in the past 2, 3 months has been on my team. And one of the biggest reasons I need to lean on my team is a few weeks ago, I feel like it's been about 2.5, 3 months now. I had a huge health scare where my body basically told me if you don't slow down, your next step, hey everybody, your next step it was probably going to be a heart attack. I one day was driving and I felt that the world was not right. Everything was like cloudy and weird, and I just felt off. I checked my blood or my heart rate. My heart rate was 110. That's crazy, you guys. 110. I'm sitting in traffic listening to some slow music. Why is my heart rate 110? So I went to the fire department. If you guys don't know, you can get your blood pressure checked at the fire department. And my blood pressure was like 143 over 95. That's hypertension, and I am a healthy person. So after that, I went home. And from the time I left the fire station to the time I got home, I'm talking to my friend. And all of a sudden, I started stuttering. And when I say stuttering, I'm talking like mush mouth off of what's that daggone cartoon? I could not get words out. I had to talk. I had to talk like this in order to get any words out my mouth. And I was terrified, you guys, terrified. My voice, the one thing that I use to get my job done, that I need in order to share all this stuff I'm looking to create, it was gone. And for about 3 weeks, I had a stutter. I couldn't think. Every time I opened my computer, my heart rate skyrocketed. Part of that was in fact that I love working. I enjoy working. But the thing is, we have to realize, people, is that our bodies don't understand the difference between good stress and bad stress. Stress is stress. And even though I enjoy working, I was still stressing my body. And my body gave me a lot of warning signs before that happened. I just chose not to listen. I chose not to listen. And so that was a huge wake up call, especially because in that time, my team, my team, they held it down. And these are people who pretty much kind of were just learning to work with me. These are people who were just really understanding the business. And they kept things going. As in, was it perfect? No, it was not perfect at all. But they did an amazing job. They said, Jasmine, don't worry, we got it. And from that point on, I realized that it was time to really let go. Everyone tells us time and time again, or we have this illusion when we start a business, and that in order for us to be successful, in order for us to be seen as somebody that is worthy of having a business, and I'm smart and I can make this happen, you have to do all the things. And that's always been me from the beginning of time. It's not just within business. I've always been that overachiever, big dreamer, big thinker. I can do everything all by myself. I do not need help. I remember with my sons how many times I had grocery bags and his carrier and toys and stuff in my teeth and hands, and somebody would ask me for help, and I'd say, "No, I got it." And now I look back on those times like that's not a badge of honor, you guys. Doing all the things is not a badge of honor. Saying that just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. Now, the moment somebody says, "Hey, would you like some help?" Yep, I need some help here. You carry this, you carry this, you carry that. I'm handing stuff off. And now I have no problem even asking for help. And this is why I really had to move forward in making sure that my team had things in place. My friend told me something just last night where, yes, I'm such a big dreamer, big thinker, that sometimes the ideas and the vision that I have in my head is too, hmm, is beyond what people are ready for. And believe that is what's going on with the collective. And I say that in this way. The vision that I have in my head to make entrepreneurship easier, to make, yes, it's going to be hard, but it doesn't have to be that hard. And I'm working to put something together that is going to alleviate a lot of the stress that most entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs, and business owners have. And the reason it's hard because there's nothing really out there that is doing this right now. That's one thing I've realized running a business, super stressful at times because you're wearing all the hats. But we're taught that that's okay. We're taught that that's what we're supposed to do. And that is not it. That is not it at all. We're not supposed to be wearing all the hats. But unfortunately, to get the help nowadays, it's not affordable, you guys. It's not affordable. Okay. And so, with the collective, I've provided a lot of information, but I'm going to tell you a lot of the things that I've learned. I've also learned that even though I'm providing a lot of information, a lot of information isn't always what's required. It's the right information in the right time that is required to the right audience. And so I was blessed with a demographic, a target audience that I really did not choose. My audience found me. You guys found me. Okay. And so then I am now fixing, how should I say, adjusting is right, adjusting what I want to provide in a way that is not just accessible. Okay, accessible is one of those, but that can actually be utilized. That's where I would say can be utilized. So within the collective, I knew, or not even just collective, we're going to go back to business. Black Sunflower did very well because I had an amazing website. Okay, I had an amazing SEO. My social media was really good. My marketing was on point. And I know all of these to be true as some of the things that made me successful. So I wanted to take what made Black Sunflower successful and create a way for other people to do the same thing, right? But it doesn't always work that way. One of the first things that I started implementing that I love, and I'm a nerd at heart. I love all things technology, AI, automation, and so I'm like, yeah, I want to do all of that. So I started website development. And in the beginning, yes, it was okay, right? And the best products, thank you. In the beginning, it was hard, and it's still hard. In round one, between round one and now, we're like round 2.5, I would say. We've completed about 17 websites. And those websites have evolved over time. And the prices have evolved over time. And I want to make this key point here. I have been in a beta testing for a technology company for a year and a half. If anybody understands what beta means, financial wise, it means you have been making no money. That's what it means. You have been making no money because you offer things at low cost, below what they're worth, because your execution of said products are not top tier. They're not bad. They're not bad, but they're not where I want them to be. So I can't charge people for those prices. So in that end, I'm not building on this stuff. I said earlier, I have a team. I have to pay a team in order to do these things, regardless of how much I charge people, right? So I've been doing this for a year and a half. That's not easy. It's not easy mentally. It's not easy on my pockets. It's not easy on my heart. Okay. But I know in order to get to where I need to be, that's some of the things I have to do. Then also in beta, I'm going to be 100% honest. I have probably pissed some people off, not intentionally, not intentionally at all, but part of me being quiet and not saying the hard stuff out loud and walking around with a smile on my face, like everything is okay, it makes it seem like, oh, she doesn't really care. I care a lot. And sometimes I care a little too much. Um, yeah, sometimes I care a little too much. And so some of the things that I've learned from growing, one, I can't stay quiet about what's going on. And it's not that I'm waiting for things to be perfect to say, hey guys, we're ready. Ta da, let's go. It's just, it's hard for me to show up every day when I don't feel like being seen, when I feel I still like I'm working. I'm working, I'm focused, and me going live distracts me. Me just even trying to set up my phone to film something really quick to give people an update. There are a lot of things that I've tried to do, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I'm so focused and on on the end goal, and that's not okay. The other part was, and this is goes more towards like my personality, where when and I know I'm not the only one here, right? When things get hard, you kind of start to shrivel and shrink in. I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. By far, not quitting and giving up. But what I am going to do or work better at and realize that once again, I can't stay quiet, especially when I'm building in public. I don't think people realize I've never had a chance to just step back. Once Black Sunflower got big, I stayed in public. Anything that I did, all the ideas that I've tried, all everything that I've learned in public. All of time, every time I failed in public. This is my sole source of income. It's not like I can say, hey, you guys, we're buy this and I'm going to stay over here and work on this. And ta-da, we have something new. It doesn't work that way. And then also, I know in order for me to be successful, I have to try trial and error. I need people to try things out. Hold on. Oh, I think my computer is about to die. Gotta plug, or my phone's about to die. I don't want you guys to die over here. Hold on real quick. And if you guys are on Instagram, make sure that you go and follow me on YouTube so that there we go, we're plugged back in. So that whenever I go live and set your notifications. That's something I'm really bad at planning ahead. When I get an idea, I just want to go with it. Right. So I've said a whole lot of things right now. Before I go into the next bit, does anybody have any questions? You guys have been listening so intently. We have people over here on Instagram. We have people on YouTube. If this is resonating with you, make sure you give me those thumbs up. Like, let people know this is something that they need to listen to. I hope you guys are getting and learning something from it, not just even about me and what I have going on, but also about yourselves. Are you able to look inside what you're doing and kind of reflect on, okay, here are some things that I can change. And also, I hope you guys learn it's okay to fail in public. That the people who have the most success in the world are not afraid. I'm not afraid of what people are going to say and think. I don't, because I know inside my heart what I'm doing and what I'm working hard to do, right? Not cheap at all. Personal assistants in Los Angeles are about $30 to $50 an hour. You need to contact me. We'll just say that. I'm not putting contact me. You have the real. We'll talk. And it's so true. All right. I'm so easily discouraged, and that's my biggest weakness. And so I go into entrepreneurship is going to be one of the biggest self and spiritual journeys you will ever go on. This is where you have to know how bad you want it. You can't get discouraged. You have to know what your goal is, or set a goal that is so big or means so much to you that even though those moments when you feel discouraged, You're like, no, this is what I want. You know how many I will, you know what? I'll actually be honest. I've never said I want to quit the collective. I've never said that. I've always said it's time to come back and adjust. I've always said come back and adjust. Now I will say I wanted to quit those candles plenty of times, which I did. These candles were never in my heart. Candles were never what I really wanted to do. I love the business side of it. I love the business side. But when it came to actually making the candles, it wasn't my thing. That's why I'm so grateful for my team now. Nakia has been holding it down when it comes to the candles, right? So now, within the collective, anybody that's been a part of the collective, you guys are what's going on, what's coming up, or anybody's looking to join the collective. Inside the community, it's been dead. I made a post today, but overall, it has been dead in there. That's because my team has been so focused. And we got an email from somebody who I'm very thankful for. She wrote a really nice letter. The letter was honest, the letter was truthful. And it was so truthful that when my assistant Lucy read it, she was like, Jasmine, she has a lot of good points in here. Can I read it to you? I said, yeah, definitely, because I'm always about growth. I'm for constructive criticism. I really want this to be amazing. And so in order for things to be amazing, I have to listen to the constructive criticism. So then I read her email and then I started emailing her back. And towards the end of the email, like I was apologizing. And I said, this sounds so like weird emailing. And so I said, hey, I would love to call you. Can I call you and apologize? And if not, that's okay. No hard feelings. But I wish you all the best. She said yes. And we had an amazing conversation. And through that conversation, she's the one who kind of helped me realize, because some of the things I told, she's like, oh, I didn't realize that. So like my team, she's like, you have an amazing team. People are nice, but the follow-up is kind of sucky right now. And I was like, you know what? We're trying. And my team's brand new. They're literally brand spanking new. And they're trying to learn me because I'm a little crazy. I'll have one idea one day, one idea the other, and they're trying to figure out where's Jasmine at, right? But moving forward, we've had two amazing meetings within the past week where we've really honed in as a team. We've really found the holes that we need to fix. We've purchased new software to help us, even down with the communication. We now have a ticketing software so that when we get emails and stuff, we know exactly how long this email has been sitting there. We're holding each other accountable. And it's really big, and this just speaks a testament to the power of my team. Our last meeting was so amazing. We have a project. Everyone picked out what they're supposed to do in their project, and I had to tell the team, like, I no longer. I'm waiting on someone to contact me about my website. Tajana, Lucy has reached out, emailed you a few times. Email support at blacksunflower.com. We have reached out to you, girl. That I know, because we went through every single person that has an email. We went through every single one. We get you. I thought you was off holiday season, about to get ready to do all those Christmas trees. Just all those Christmas trees. So yes, to run and own my business is a dream. I'm trying so hard to push through this time. I'm tired of sitting and waiting for something good to come. It's time to create it. You can't sit around and wait for anything. You have to make it. You have to make it. You have to create change. You have to do it. And hello, Bridget. All right. So some of the other things that we learned. The web to site design process, when we first initially started, we wanted to be more of a collaborative thing with people. And what was happening is people were filling out the information, we were starting the website, and then we were providing them with the partially done website that people thought, like, wait, this is it? Like, this is my website? And people weren't happy. And we were like, hold on, no, this isn't your full website. We need your feedback before we finish out the rest of it. And so we completely redid the design process. We completely redid how we do our revisions and hand off email or websites to people. And it's been night and day. It's been night and day. I have never had, it's a digital marketing agency, you guys. I've never done it. I have no blueprint. I'm literally just figuring things out as we go. One of the other things is the amount of time that it takes to complete the websites. Um, in the time, because now we're building a bit more robust websites, we're like, well, how about we just like give people a landing page, something that they can have in the meantime while they're waiting for the website to be built. because we all know you shove a lot of money and then you have to wait weeks for something to be done. We want something tangible now, right? So that's just what a few of the many things that we've changed. Like I said, the ticketing system for emails that we just implemented, um, uh, the web design process, and even just down to me notifying people, even down to a we're putting together a what's it called? Even just like a newsletter to help people follow up. All right. So, the future of the collective. Let's talk about the future of the collective, the resources, what's available, and then we can get into this part of this course that I want to teach you guys about today. And what's nice is I'm now going to take this video afterwards, and we're going to chop it up. So, if you want this education part, it will be separate from this entire part that I did in the beginning, kind of giving you guys an update. So, the collective. The collective is just a hub for business owners, entrepreneurs. It's going to be a wealth of information, a wealth of resources. We're redoing our directory as well as referrals, people that refer. We had Black Sunflower founding partners. We have those people available for resources for different things. And though it's the online community still will remain free, the business classes are still going to or take back. It used to be known as the Academy, and there was a monthly cost for that. It's no longer going to be a monthly cost. They're a la carte, starting off at $12.99, as well as I'm deciding how I set it up for the whole bundle. So you get what you want, or there'll be packages of classes that you can get, and that's it. I really just want to keep it simple, easy, straight to the point. I mentioned the partner resources and the directory. There will be group Q&As that we have going on. There will be, not sure exactly how I'm going to fully manage those. And the next thing that I have, because I said in the beginning, I really want to focus on helping make entrepreneurship not as difficult, and that's providing help. I've been spending a lot of time on putting together my virtual assistant agency in a way that makes it accessible. And one of those things that we are going to start offering will be coaching. So, and coaching on actually what to do. Because when I started this virtual assistant agency, most of my friends have VAs now. That's how I started off with that. That's how I knew what worked, what didn't work. I've cussed my friends out on plenty of occasions because what I've realized is we do not know how to delegate. And I say we as a whole, as a society, we don't know how to delegate very well. We're so stuck in that mentality of I know best and I'm the only one who can do my job. I call bull. There are plenty of other people who know how to do your job and what you're doing. And so it's been very hard. So if I can just say, hey, get yourself a virtual assistant, right? But wouldn't it be better if somebody could actually meet with you, right? Take a look at everything that you have going on in your business, help you align your next step, what needs to be done, and then identify these are things that a virtual assistant can help you with, and these are the things that you need to work on. And so essentially those that will be the packages that we're offering within the collective. I did send out an email that stated I opened up a few spaces in October for training. I'm not going to be doing as much of the training anymore. That's what I trained my team to do. And a lot of them will be the ones who are doing some of the work, right? And so they are very aware of what it takes to get things done. They are basically helping run Black Sunflower in my business. I've gotten to the point where I've told them, I can't tell you guys what needs to be done next anymore. That's your job. I hired you guys because I need you to do the work. I don't have the mental capacity to say every little thing that needs to be done. And they took it and they have run with it. They've made my job so much easier. That's why I feel I'm able to see her. I feel I'm a lot calmer than I used to be. I feel that my head space is a lot more clear than it used to be. And when you can remove those blockages of doing everything and being overwhelmed in your business, the what you can accomplish is so much more. Even with my team, I've accomplished more since the beginning of January than most people would do in 1 or 2 years. I have done so much within the collective. Why? Because I have help. Because I have help. So yes, within the collective, those are pretty much the resources that are there. I personally am not doing a lot, like I said, a lot of one-on-one coaching anymore because I am working on the next bit. So I mentioned earlier that the business collective, well, I'll take that. The business collective is like a melting pot of people in so many different levels and areas of business. And what I realize is I also then have a group of people who are a bit further along in business that have different needs. And so I'm not going to give all of the bags away, but when it comes to the website development and things like that, it's kind of being taken out of the collective. And I'm working on what I like to call Black Sunflowers Rich Auntie. And so it's a lot of the same things that I was doing before, but it's refined. Normally in business, you don't want to focus on two different demographics and what you're working on. But I feel that I love I have it in my heart to help people who have dreams and they want to make those dreams come true. And I can't just stop that. I already have tons of resources. I have things that are available. So, how do I make this work? How do I provide these resources? Right. But then over here, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, new business development, right? Providing resources and time and making it accessible, it's hard. It costs a lot of money. And it's left me hurting for money because I've given so much of myself to build these things and make them accessible. That's why big companies normally offer technical resources and low cost resources. And I kept pushing for that, but it's really draining me. It's draining me. It's draining me mentally. It was draining me emotionally. It was draining me physically and financially. And I can't do it in that way anymore, but I still want to provide the resources. So I now have Black Sunflowers Rich Auntie that is brewing over here. And we have built some amazing websites, some just like, wow. We'll release those soon. If you're in the Seattle Tacoma area, you're going to know some of the businesses that we've done them from. They're pretty nice. And I can't wait for that. But with that being said, that's kind of a quick overview. I was trying to get it in 30 minutes or less about where I'm at, what I've learned. Thank you, Base. And my girl Base is in here. And I don't know if her YouTube is up now, but if you guys are not familiar, Basic Gordon, that girl right there is fire. She has a show on Fox 13. She also has a show on Fox Soul where all she does is uplift businesses. That's what she does. And on top of that, she doesn't just uplift businesses. She's going to hate that I'm doing this right now. She might hate or love it. But the fact that she actually provides an affordable way for businesses to promote themselves. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So go ahead and follow her on Instagram, follow her on YouTube. Um, I that girl works hard. She is up. Yeah, she is up at the butt crack early at night, butt crack of dawn. Everything that she does is for her show, which is all about just uplifting businesses. And like I surround myself with people who are trying to make things happen and try to help people succeed. So thank you so much for allowing me to spiel all of that. Before I move on to the business part, the new business playbook, I want to open up the floor to any questions. Tajana, they probably are still using an old email because I know for a fact we emailed you. So please email support@blacksunflower.com so we can get you going. Get you going. Literally just mentioned your name yesterday. So you must have heard us. So anybody who's watching on Instagram, make sure you come and follow on YouTube. Moving forward, I'll be doing most of my things on YouTube. Between today and tomorrow, I'm going to finish a YouTube schedule where I will be doing a lot more lives, a lot more courses. Today was more of a, let me pour my heart out to you. I hope you guys learn more about me. I hope you guys learn more about the collective. I hope you learn more about yourself within this. Hey, I hope you learn more about yourself. And for that, yeah, just email support. Email support at blacksunflower.com. And it'll definitely get you taken care of. Okay. They'll get you back in and we'll get that all fixed up for you. So, yes. Anything else? Yes. And I'm gonna tell you this, listen here. I One of the best decisions I could have ever made was to get an executive assistant. The best decisions ever because I don't like emails. I mean, I don't like them. And what's nice is I'm able to get the important emails to me, which is pretty cool. And help alleviate a whole lot of the extra stuff, right? You know, we get the spam and trying to identify what's important, what's not important. And I actually used to get crazy anxiety opening my email because there's always so much stuff to do. All right. Well, it looks like you guys don't have any questions. Are you guys ready for me to go on to the next section? How about that? Let me see if you guys are listening, paying attention. Is the habit of coming to you because, yes, exactly. And that's, you a really good point there. I am one person and everyone was coming to me, and this is nothing against you, my love, at all. But I become so overwhelmed that I had to step in and I had to have people help me because it was either have people help me or I shut down because it's just so much. It's just so much. Okay, you guys are ready for the next part? All right. Awesome. Thank you. If can I get some interaction, get some heart emojis? I need something, some likes. You guys were in here. I've been giving you this love, this information. It's time to move on to the next section. Now we're transitioning into education. We're transitioning into growth. We're transitioning into better people. Yes, we are. We are now becoming smarter, we're becoming wiser. We're going to start learning how to delegate. We're going to start knowing how not to give up. Erica, we're not giving up. We're not letting go. When things get hard, we're gonna keep pushing forward because I still only scratched the surface of the struggles within the collective. And if anybody knew exactly what I've went through, what I've been through, what I'm still going through, you're like, girl, why didn't you quit? Because it's something I love. It's something I love, and I refuse to quit on something I love. Period. So um it won't let you send messages on your work account, Raven. Oh, and there goes one person we have right here, Raven. One of the interns that I hired from the summer. Raven is my automation specialist. She's the one in the support at blacksunflower.com account. She has been a lifesaver. She's one of those people where we're like two peas in a pod. We're completely different people, but the same person all in one. She's amazing at what she does. And she's the one who's going to be building a lot of your automations in your accounts, your emails, things like that. When we introduce Black Sunflower's Rich Auntie, delegation is very important. It is the most important thing because I promise you, your business will double, triple. And I don't want to hear anybody talk about I can't afford delegation. When I start announcing this stuff, and here's the thing, when I announce I have spaces for virtual assistants open, you better take them because here's the thing, as of now, I don't have the capacity to do things in masses. We hire a few, we train a few, we place a few. We hire a few, we train a few, we place a few. I'm not over here getting people off of Fiverr. Let's make that straight. We don't get people off of just random people off of Fiverr. All of my virtual assistants, their friends, their families, their referrals from each other. They have bachelor degrees, they have master's degrees, they hold really great positions where they're at over in the Philippines. They would just like us rather work from home, use their knowledge to build something for themselves. And I encourage my team to build stuff for themselves. Now, I was like, I would love for you to work for Black Sunflower forever, but I don't have a non-compete clause. I just tell them, if you want to build a business, come to me first so I can help you and make it easier. I do all the work to make everyone's lives easier. That is right, Raven. Raven is on. I'm thinking about opening my own candle business, but hesitate because there's so many competitors. There's also a lot of toilet paper and there's a whole lot of bread, but that still doesn't stop people from making it. Don't get me started, girl. All right. So you are very welcome, Erica. We're going to move on to the next section. We're going to talk about what it takes to actually start a business, and not just start a business that's going to be successful. There are a lot of steps when it comes to beginning a business. And a lot of times people are like, well, where do I start? What do I do? I never know what to do first. And everyone's always telling you something different. Okay. Everyone's always telling you something different. And here's another thing. I encourage you guys to don't, I should say, yes, I've been doing this for a long time, but I also say, go ahead, challenge me. Challenge me. Well, Jasmine, I heard XYZ. And I might either say, ooh, that's a good take. I've never heard of it. Or I'll call complete bullshit. One or the two. I'm not going to steer you in the wrong direction. Like I said before, I have nothing but people coming to me and saying, thank you. You helped me push forward. You helped me succeed. You helped me do this right. So first of all, when it comes to setting a strong, I got to rewind because my editor, he's going to come in and he's going to clip this up. So let's make it right. It's like a live studio taping. I think that's what I'm going to start doing, you guys. I'm just going to doing live video tapings of these because I was supposed to record so many videos, but I cannot record a video when there's nobody here. It's so weird, so weird. All right. So today we are going to talk about setting a strong foundation for your business, the essential things you need to do in order to launch your business and be successful. First of all, why does setting a strong foundation matter? We all have these ideas. We all want to make things happen, but there's so much information all over the internet telling you different things to do, what steps you should do them in. I have done it all. I have been selling stuff since I was on the playground. I know what works, I know what doesn't work, and that's literally what I study every day is business, not just within the big components of business and the legalities, but also I study people. I study how people operate. I study how people learn. Right. And so that's what these courses are built off of. They are built off of actual things that I've seen that happen, that I've experienced, and I've done for myself. We're going to talk about legal protection, how to set up your business. We're going to talk about trademarks. We're going to talk about financial organization. Now, I'm going to be the first one to say, I have never been the best at financial organization. So I'm going to teach you not only how to do it, if you are like me and not the best at it, the things that you can do to keep yourself from getting into trouble. We're going to talk about online presence. How do you establish an online presence? How do you get there? What things you actually need to secure and what things do you need to have? And what things can possibly wait. Your business structure, LLC, sole proprietorship. What does this stuff even mean? Like, what does it even mean? And strategy. How do you execute once you have all of these things in place? I'm currently going off of a course that I have in the collective that I will be launching later today. So if you are in the collective, it's a complimentary course. You will have direct access to it. So you don't have to pay anything. You just go in the collective and it's going to be there for you. So we're going to start off in a way that most people may not think I should start off from, but it's going to talk about defining your brand identity. Who is your brand? What is your mission? Who's your target audience? What is your brand personality? No, we're not jumping right into getting a business license because that's one of the biggest mistakes you can do. You want to start a business, so you get a business license. What are you even doing? What are you doing? Most of us don't know. It's an idea. We haven't thought it all the way through, or if we have thought it through, how do you know that this name or whatever you're coming up with is even going to resonate with anyone? So you have to identify that. And once you identify your mission, your target audience, your brand, think of a name. And it's one of those things where I hate to be rude, but I'm going to be rude. In the beginning, you are the only person who cares about your business name. You're the only person who cares about your biggest business logo. You're the only person who cares about the shade of pink on your logo. Just you. Until you get bigger, no one cares. So stop wasting weeks and weeks withering away trying to figure out the perfect name. Because I'm going to tell you something. You can come up with almost any name for an LLC. And you can always do a DBA for your business. So if you come up with something and something else resonates later, you're not stuck, you guys. So stop wasting your time and energy trying to figure out the perfect name, the perfect logo. As you build, I promise it will come to you. I started Black Sunflower in August 2019, or we'll say that's when I started making candles. I came up with the actual name, I think it was November or December of that same year. Okay, that's when I came up with it. How do you create a business name? How do you pick a winning business name, right? You start by defining your brand, defining the brand identity, all right? Defining the brand identity. Raven, and don't laugh, you guys, because this is like live studio audience taping. So now I'm telling Kenneth, go ahead and cut this out, right? I'm digressing, Kenneth. We're going to cut this out and keep going. Yes, contact Raven. Raven, I think she's on her emails now, supposedly. So she may be able to answer you right now and help get you taken care of. Okay. Brainstorm different keywords. Okay. Are you offering products or are you offering a service? What type of benefits? How are you actually benefiting the customer? What type of feelings, what type of emotions are evoked from the names? What type of beliefs? Do you have values? Now, In the beginning, I did say, a lot of people really sound so rude, but no one cares about Grandma Annie Mae but you guys. It's okay if you want to name your business after that, but we have to make sure everything else in the branding that you build around it has something to help bring people in. Black Sunflower, I'm going to give you an idea. How and why did I come up with the name Black Sunflower? It was pure strategy. I wanted something that not only stood out, I wanted something that when people looked at it, they thought, at least for 2 split seconds, like, I've never heard that before. At the time, I wanted a luxury candle brand. So I was like, what's luxury? Black. And I was like, had the word black written on a piece of paper. It's okay, that's too many letters. Let's go ahead and take some letters out. Cool, BLK, great. And I was like, you know what? I want something that when people look at this name, they're like, I've never seen that before. So like, what are things that are not normally Black? So I went through a whole list of things over a few weeks in my head. And if you guys heard this story before, I'm in the car with my son. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse had just came out, and Post Malone was playing on my Spotify, and it was needless to say, whatever he says, right? And he's like, sunflower. I was like, turn to the back, Juju, that's it, Black Sunflower. And that's where I came up with the name, Black Sunflower. And from the moment I did the name, I'm going to show you this too. When I did my first event, the end of December, one of my friends, I didn't have a logo, I didn't have anything, right? I asked him, I was like, I need something to put up, right? And he drew me this. I've had this since 2019. And at the time, he did like the Wakanda writing, and this is what he did. And his name is Brad, and he is just the most amazing person ever. Oh, I'm almost going to cry looking at this. But yeah, this is what I started off with. This was Black Sunflower to begin with. He actually made this one too. You guys, these are so old. They're so old. He just got some paint chalk, and this is what he wrote. And this was the start of my name. And my logo, as you see, it's elevated and it's changed over the years. Juju is my CFO. Juju won't have nothing to do with my candles. We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about legacy and leaving stuff a little bit later. Right? So, like I said, get creative with wordplay. Hey, Rikia, get creative with the wordplay, metaphors. To look at different languages, the roots of different words, have a play on words. And then I also want you to realize a lot of names that are big aren't like, what's a Nike? What's a Nike? Apple. They picked apple, a fruit, right? It doesn't always have to be that big. It doesn't have to be like, keep it simple. Make it memorable. Some of the things I do regret is sometimes when I say blacks or people see BLK, they think it's bulk. They say bulk sunflowers. No, I'm not selling bulk sunflowers. So be careful with the spelling stuff funny, because you're going to find yourself over and over again reiterating how it's really spelt, and things like that, right? And you want to check for your availability early. This is checking for the domains, checking social media platforms, checking trademarks, which we're going to go over earlier. When you find a name, one of the first things you want to do is check if it's trademarked. And some people, I'm going to give an example. I don't know what's a common, I can't think of, there's a lot of common names that you see in candle companies. And some people are like, okay, it's trademark, but it's not the same. I also want you to think of this. It's not just the trademark. It's just not the social media platform that you want to look at. You also want to look at, can I stand out? Because even if the specific name is not trademarked and you're just changing one word. So let's say, sorry, Logan, I'm going to use this and we're talking about Logan in a second, radiant light. So maybe instead of radiant light, it's radiant flicker or radiant glow or something like that, right? You want to pick something that will stand out and has less of a chance of being lost in the sea of other similar names. So, and also gather feedback, but I say do this very loosely. Okay. Family and friends, they'll usually give you like, oh, that sucks. My friend just sent me something, even last night. And she said, what about this? One word, no. She's like, what, really? And you could tell she was in love with the idea. I was like, nah, it's giving ratchet. She was like, what? I really liked it. I was like, take it as you want. I don't like it. But it's you, your friends and family will be honest. But then you also have the people who just want to give their opinion, and you know whose opinion you can take and whose opinion you can't. Potential customers. Another quick way you can do it is, honestly, strangers are the best way to test it out. If you are talking to somebody like, hey, I'm starting a business, what do you think of this name? 9 times out of 10, a stranger might give you a more honest answer sometimes, depending on how your family is, than family and friends. Okay. And then visualize your name. Like, can you see your name on merch? Can you see this name on a letterhead? When you see it at the bottom of a signature and a logo, is that something that you can do? And then also make sure it's future proof, you guys. This is a big one. Future proof your business name. Is there room to grow? Everyone always asks, how come I didn't name my business Black Sunflower? And I'm actually going to clip this part out. I'm going to tell my mom, because I tell her all the time. One of the main reasons I never called it Black Sunflower Candles is because my mom is an amazing artist, but she has never wanted to actually put her art out there. And I wanted her art to be able to live on my website. And I didn't want to pigeonhole myself. And I also said, what if one day I want to throw Black Sunflower on the side of a 16-wheeler? Like, I want the name to be timeless. And so I never pigeonholed the name Black Sunflower by actually identifying what it is. Yes, I offer that. Do I offer domain education? I had one, but had trouble keeping it active. We can definitely talk about, and we're going to mention domains. We're going to talk about that in here. So like I mentioned earlier, common pitfalls to avoid: copycat names, trendy slang, because trends are trends. They come and go, right? Literal names, overly literal names. I mentioned earlier, inspirations, like just look at different companies, and you'll also realize a lot of big name companies, they're like one word names. They're one word names. They're very simple. So once you pick your name, you want to make sure you finalize the domain. You can do GoDaddy. Actually, if you contact us, we offer domain purchasing as well. We also, there's a lot of things that we offer, but one of them is domain purchasing. Consider registering your trademark. It is pretty expensive now because a lot of people are managing businesses. We will have different places that you can go. So one of them that I went in the beginning is LegalZoom. It's a lot more expensive now for LegalZoom, but it's worth it, especially if it's a name. You know, sometimes you'll feel it in your heart like, ooh, this is it. This is the name. I wouldn't say in the beginning spend too much time on it. This is going to sound rude. Once again, nobody even really cares. And a lot of times when you're so small and it's just an idea, no one's going to really spend that money to take your name from you. There's a small chance. Yeah. No, not even $800 per year. It should just be a one-time payment to trademark it. One-time payment. You're paying for the classes. Classes are the type of service you provide or product. So you have like a class for I think it's 002 is like fragrances. You have 001. There's a bunch of different classifications. So it's like $350 per class. And then if you want to do the name mark, so on and so forth, where a lot of the money is coming in are these services that are charging you to do these. I do not recommend doing a trademark by yourself. Do not do a trademark by yourself. Point blank period. Don't do it. Definitely pay the money. But like I said, don't worry about spending all your money in the beginning. All right. So before I move on to the next section, do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that in regarding business name, picking a business name, before we move on to the next section, which is going to be talking a little bit more about trademark and brand identity? Any questions over on Instagram? Any questions over on YouTube? Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I feel like I'm back at home. I haven't done a class like this in a while, and I think I'm going to start doing them live. My social media manager is going to be so happy because she's been at my neck telling me to record a bunch of videos. And I think this is how we're going to do them. I like this live studio audience setup. You guys are going to get to hear what I say. So once again, Kenneth, we're cutting this part out, erase it from the main video, add a nice little transition, and we're going to move on to the next. Okay, securing your trademark, protecting your brand identity. So why does a trademark matter? You spent all that time coming with a name. It's a name that you love. It means something. And then all of a sudden you're searching and somebody else has it, right? Somebody else has it. I had an instance years ago where when I was training, I opened up a fitness garage. When I tell you guys I've had businesses, right? And I decided to call it the Sweat Garage. Before I decided to call it the Sweat Garage, I did look at trademarks. Nobody had it. Nobody had the Sweat Garage at all. I was like, cool. I didn't bother to trademark it because honestly, I wasn't attached to it. And I didn't plan on having that particular location for a long time. The only reason it was called the Sweat Garage because it was in one of like those storage facilities, but I had like a huge garage door. It was like a loft style. It was really cool. Lights in there. It was nice. And then a few months later, I get a email from somebody. I get an email and a letter that said, hey, this is our name. We trademarked it. Can you stop using it? Now they were very nice. The gentleman was so nice. And he had trademarked Sweat Garage. He had just did it. So he probably had looked and saw that I had it. And to protect his brand, which he had a huge facility in, I think it was in Beverly Hills in LA. He wanted to protect it. He did the right thing. I said, cool, bet. I just purchased a lot of marketing materials though. Can you give me 6 months to use these and then I'll transition and I'll even hand over the domain to you. And some people are like, oh, you should charge him for the domain. I'm like, why would I do that? He was so nice when he approached me. We talked on the phone a few times. And he even said he didn't have to give me time to use my marketing materials. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He could have came cutthroat at me. He came very nice and respectful, but he protected himself. He saw that somebody else had the name, which was me. He went and reached out to me. He didn't even send a cease and assist letter. He just reached out. And I can thank him for that. So I finished my marketing materials, I handed it over, and then I started just going by Coach Jazz. After that, I started going by Coach Jazz. So um, when you decide on a name, you're looking at Google it like crazy, look everywhere, type in different versions of the name. Like I said, check for the domains before you trademark it. These are ways that you protect your brand identity. So then you go to the USPTO search. When you go into this course in the collective, it's going to have a hyperlink that you can just click on. That'll take you right there. But search the name, look for exact matches, but also look for names that are similar within your industry. If someone else already has it trademarked or something close to it, you might want to reconsider. Now, going through, there's a lot of different things. You can trademark your logo, you can trademark just your name, you can trademark certain photos. You want to make sure that you have all your branding together before you actually decide to trademark so that you're not wasting money. Because as I mentioned, it's expensive. So like I mentioned before, there's LegalZoom. There's also Legal Shield, which is pretty good. I mentioned it a few times where Legal Shield is like, they used to be called prepaid legal a long time ago, but if you use them as business, the trademark, I think the business is like $99 a month, and this costs like $500 for the trademark, but they also help you with contracts and a whole lot of other things. And with trademark, there's also something called trademark monitoring. So it depends on the company. They will charge you based upon either they're just doing the trademark and or they are continuously searching to see if anyone else tries to take that name. I've had a trademark issue where I'm not even going to talk about that. You know, we're not even going to bring that up, but somebody was super petty and I didn't even want to deal with it. So I was like, here, whatever, you guys. They wanted me to remove a certain something from a particular class. Okay. That when you own the domain, it's yours. Yeah, the domain is yours, but the trademark, it does not matter. If you own an LLC, if you own a domain, if you don't have the trademark, it means nothing. Somebody can come and take it. It is not yours. The domain, yes, I own the domain, but the name is not mine. And technically, you can get in trouble for using it if it doesn't belong to you. So just getting the domain means absolutely nothing, you guys. That is a very good question and a very good point to bring up. And honestly, I think I'm going to add that to, hey, Raven, if you're still here, can you go ahead and add that? We need to add that to the trademark portion of the class because I think that's a very important thing for people to know. As I mentioned, consider professional help when you're doing your trademark. Do not try to do it on your own. There are a lot. Add that if you own the domain or the LLC, the trademark or the name is not yours. It has to be trademarked. All right. And right now, to get a trademark takes a really long time. It takes about a year to actually get it because there are so many people putting in. But here's another thing. As long as who is kind of whoever puts in the application first is who it belongs to. So as long as you don't have to say, oh, I get my application in and then now I have to wait a whole year to actually use the name, it does not work that way. Yeah, it takes about a year. Um, but like I said, even though it takes about a year, you can still utilize that name. And we're going to talk a little bit later, but just like having a website, having actual products and stuff already made, it really helps your argument if somebody wants to come in and say, oh, well, that's my name first. They go off of who was using it first. So you need to have your social media up, start utilizing that name after you put the trademark in if you're scared. Just so it shows that I was the one who was using this name first. And because I was using this name first, it belongs to me. Get your grubby paws off of my name. Okay. What else should I say for this? That's pretty much it for the trademark part. Um, in the course, it kind of just gives you a really quick, easy breakdown. I wanted to make the course so it's not very wordy, it's straight to the point, but it will really help answer some of these questions within it. All right. So before I move on to the very next section, do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, anything like that? And we'll move on to the next, which is talking about social media presence. So we talked about the name, we talked about trademarking the name. Now we're going to talk about that social media presence. And I know some of you may be thinking, oh, I thought she was going to talk LLC, blah, blah, this and that. Yes, those things are important. But before you spend money on all those things, let's get the foundation. When I say foundations, I'm talking about foundations. We need to get those in order first before we move forward. All right. Looks like we don't have any questions. Awesome. If you guys want to join the collective or anything like that, if you email Raven, can you type in the chat support@blacksunflower.com? Put in your email address. She can get you taken care of. You can also go to blacksunflower.com, fill out the application to join the collective. This course will be live later today. Actually, I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna put it tomorrow because there are some things as I'm talking to you guys that I do want to add and change so that I make sure that you're getting it. It keeps deleting it with auto mode. That's so weird, goofy. Space it out, put support, space, and then put the at, just the word at, and then Black Sunflower, and then spell out.com. I think it's YouTube moderating it. Okay. All right. So, with this digital world that we have, making sure that your social media presence is on point is huge. Um, the trademark, it varies. So the actual classes are about 350 each, but because I recommend having a company do it, they charge it varies. So and I'll say anywhere from 500 from what I've shown, and that includes the mark. I think it includes one mark to LegalZoom charges about 800 now to do it. And that includes, I think, one mark as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly. It's changed so much, but check those places out for that. So, social media. It's really important that when you are establishing your social media presence for your business, you're not leaving people guessing. So now that you've come up with your name, you know what you want to have out there. And I'm not saying you want to do this even before your trademark. When you're searching for a name, this is something you should be doing in the beginning. Is this name available in the way I want it on social media? Um, in the very beginning, when I started Black Sunflower, I just did Black Sunflower Co. as the company because somebody else had Black Sunflower. It's spelled exactly how I wanted it. I didn't think Black Sunflower would come to what it is now. I've always hated the CO at the end of Black Sunflower, but I've had it forever, so it's staying there. But you want to make sure that whatever your handle is, try to get it the same across all platforms. Try to keep it consistent. It makes things easier, not just for you. It makes it easier when you're creating marketing materials, when you're sharing stuff. It's so annoying to have like a business card or something, and each name is a little bit different. You want to try to keep it consistent across the board. And every time there is a new platform, you guys, every time there's a new platform, whether you think you're going to use it or not, right? Whether you think you're going to use it or not, go ahead and just secure it. I think Lemon 8 came out. I don't plan on using Lemonade. I went and got it. Years ago when Periscope was one of the first live streaming platforms. If you guys remember Periscope, I was a Periscope OG, right? I originally got my Coach Jazz name on there. Didn't think I was going to use it, but I'm so glad I ended up actually getting the handle. So um, Just go ahead and secure it across all platforms, whether you plan on using it or not. This allows you the option of keeping these consistent and not having to think later. So, why? It enhances your brand consistency because if you're consistent across all platforms instead of one being black sunflower, one shop black sunflower, one black sunflower candles, like there's just too much. Try to keep it simple. You also want to prevent other people from claiming your name, and it builds trust. Having that consistent name through all social media platforms builds trust. All right. We want to keep it simple, keep it consistent, be creative if necessary using the shop. Like if you store shop or if you educate, it could be coach or whatever, right? Um, just find ways to make sure that it's not hard for people to look up. Because once again, you don't want to spend your time always having to explain yourself. Okay. Where should you go? Honestly, TikTok hands down is a must. And I say, do as I say, not as I do. I still don't even use my TikTok that much. My Within our social media department, we're redefining and what we're going to do. And I chose that I want to spend most of my time and energy on YouTube personally. But if you're selling stuff or if you're just trying to get out there, TikTok is the way to go, you guys. TikTok is the way to go. Yes, there's some talk of it going and coming back. TikTok not only allows you to be yourself, but one of the things I've realized in the past few years, or past year or so, that I don't enjoy social media as much because I get tired of getting on and selling. I just want to be myself. I just want to come and talk about stuff. And if people like what I have to say and they want a piece of it, cool, go for it. And TikTok really allows you to do that. I feel TikTok is not as, not even I feel, I know for a fact, TikTok is not as show up all pristine and ready to go, right? Hey, it's not like that. So if you want to just show up being you, in your full authentic self, TikTok is the way, especially with TikTok Shop. Utilize TikTok Shop. Here I am, not utilizing myself. I got a lot of things going on. The next one, Instagram. Like I said, it's good for visual storytelling. It's good for having a presence. And yeah, you can make things happen on Instagram. It can be iffy. The thing is, the algorithms change, excuse me, so much. The one that I know that hits every single time if you're consistent is TikTok. Facebook. I actually don't use, and I've never used Facebook that much, but it works great for some people depending on your demographic. One good thing about Facebook, which I personally have never really capitalized off of, is if you are starting to create some sort of community, starting that community within Facebook and then bringing it into your own space is actually very beneficial. Pinterest, you guys, Pinterest, Pinterest, Pinterest. Another one I personally am sleeping on, but I will say it is an amazing, amazing tool for getting out there, getting found, and getting seen. Creating those Pinterest boards will go a long way. Adding your own self, like you're literally somebody's looking for something, and you create a whole collage of stuff, and your stuff is in there. You guys, there's a lot of great things you can use. And Pinterest, if I'm not mistaken, they do have. Uh, People that will help you put that together. How I know? Because I get the emails all the time. But I just, next time I get the email, I'm going to save that information and I'm going to see if I can have them come in and talk with us about that because I think that would be pretty cool. I don't really mess with Twitter too much anymore. LinkedIn, business to business relationships. This is another thing that I've slacked on for a very long time. And LinkedIn, create your own LinkedIn profile, create a business page for your LinkedIn and start building it up. Once again, have I done it fully? No, I know what it does. I just have a lot going on. Now, do not go and try to do every single one of these, you guys. Please don't do it. You find what resonates with you, what works with your target audience, what you're comfortable with. And I am biased. I'm going to say once again, YouTube is the way to go. The way YouTube works is not as like you can't sit with us mean girls type of algorithm. YouTube will push your stuff out, especially when it comes to shorts. So definitely take that. So I'm trying to think. Oh, there's a tool called Name Checker. It's NAMECHECKR, not ER, just R. And it will actually search, if you type in a name that you want, it will search across multiple social media platforms to see if it's taken instead of going into each one. I do have that. Let me check. I'm in the thing. Yes, I do have it in the course as well. So I'm reading through the course right now, just making sure I cover everything that's in here. I think that's it for that. The other thing I would just say about getting your social media together, you want to create a consistent strategy. Finding out exactly what you want to do with social media. One of the things I feel I've always fell short on is I'm a very like spur of the moment, spontaneous type of person where even if I do have a plan, I have a tendency to deviate from that quite a bit. And that leaves me in times where there's lulls where I don't feel like posting, that there's big spaces of you won't hear from me at all. Yes, not only I'm saving this live, it will also be on YouTube. So the live will be up on YouTube, and then uh, it'll also be edited later because this is a very, very long live. Um, so develop a content strategy, create a content calendar so you know exactly what you're posting. Make sure it's actually resonating with what you're trying to put out there. Another big mistake a lot of people make is you're going on every day, buy my this, buy, right? That's not how you're going to get customers, especially if you start off. You have to be of service. I know good and well, I've spent pretty much my entire business collective career just giving. I educate, I provide information, I provide lots of free information, because you need people to understand that you know what you're talking about. Not only that you know what you're talking about, you have to show proof. If you have a product that gives results, show those results, without saying, you can show the results without saying, hey, buy my this. Because if the results are good enough, people are going to say, hey, where do I buy this? Right? I think that's a really good way to prevent yourself from burning out from that social media con- capitalistic society hole that we've kind of all got ourselves into. But that's a conversation for another day. Engage with your audience. One of the main things that helped me get Black Sunflower to where it was at was, or where it is at, let me not use that language, is I engage with my audience. When I first started, when somebody would like one of my posts, I would go to their profile and I would actually find, I wouldn't just like the first thing. I would go and find something that I actually like. I would comment, I would engage. So as a brand that's engaging, especially if you're already presenting yourself as a brand, as a we, I'm a big team. It doesn't matter if it's just a you are a we when you're starting, because perception's everything, unfortunately. And you want to make sure that you're coming off as such. So then when you're going back and you're engaging, it feels good. Like, oh my gosh, I showed this company love and this company came back and showed me love in return. And that's how you get people to continue. And I didn't just do it once or twice. There's people who started off with Black Sunflower that I've seen them get married, have babies, move, fly across country, divorce, like everything, right? I've seen everything, because these are like these core people that it actually was a part of their lives in the beginning. And in turn, lots of word of mouth and all of that. I'm guilty of posting and ghosting. You guys, well, we're not gonna talk about that, right? Monitor your analytics, see what works and what doesn't work. And also don't be afraid to not look good in public. And what do I mean by that? If you go to my Business Collective Instagram page, over the past few weeks, or the past few posts, some of them were completely different from anything that I've ever posted before, right? I have a social media team who she's really good, but I needed them to see for themselves. And when I say she and then I say them, it was just one person, but now we have a graphic designer, we have video editors, we have a bunch of other people within that. So I keep mixing them up. But I needed them to see for themselves what type of content worked, right? And so some of the stuff they posted, I'm like, ooh, this isn't going to do well. Like I already knew it, right? But I was okay with them posting it because I need them to learn. I'm done with micromanaging and telling people what works, what doesn't work. You need to figure it out on your own. And that was her job. So I allowed her to do those things, and they figured out what worked, what didn't work, by looking at the analytics, looking at the tools. It's the editor, I think it's Instagram editor or whatever. If you go into there now, it has really good analytics. If you look at Facebook Business Manager, it's connected to your Instagram, really good analytics. Use the data, you guys. The data will give you the answers. Sweetheart, I'm still live. What's up? Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see. I think that is pretty much it for this part in the social media side of things. When utilizing social media for your business and you're just starting off, just want to cover the main things. Make sure that you try to get a consistent social media handle across all platforms, whether you plan to use the platform or not. Pick a social media platform and stick with it. One, two at the most. Do not try to do more than that. You're going to overwhelm yourself, especially because what does well on TikTok doesn't do as well on Instagram and vice versa. But one thing that I will keep talking about is YouTube. You might be thinking to yourself, well, what do I share on YouTube? I have nothing to share on YouTube. We all have something to share. This world, we are connected by stories. We're connected um, by common likes, common dislikes. There is something that you can share, even if it's you just showing your hands, making your product. And once again, this is something I want to do better at. There's so many times I think, Jasmine, just go live and have people watch you work and comment every now and then, right? That does well. You see people do it all the time. Why can't it be you? Right. So that's the end of the social media part. The next, we're going to move on to the next section. Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything that you would love to mention, any wins, something that you have found out while you're on your journey of starting your business within social media. Legit, if you have a candle making business, people love watching that process. It's so true. It's hypnotizing, especially if you're a maker and use your hands. People love that stuff. Some people say, oh, well, I don't want to be seen on camera. You know how many faceless video or pages on TikTok and YouTube there are that do very well, very, very well. Right. We're on to the next section. Right now, I am going through the essentials to launching a successful business course that's in the collective. And it's completely free. You just join the collective. You can go to blacksunflowerbusinesscollective.com. If you're on Instagram, the link is in the bio. And if you're on YouTube, I think the link is on in the main page as well. And you can just join through there. It's been very silent in there. We went over that towards the beginning, so you guys can go back and watch the rest of this live earlier. The next thing we're going to talk about is choosing your legal structure for your business. So is this something that people have been overwhelmed with? Do you guys have experience with it? Do you understand what's going on? I would love to get a gauge. So one, if you have no idea about legal structures, LLC, sole proprietorship, the sole proprietorship. Two, if you know about it, where are we at in the crowd? Do you know about it? Do you not know about it? Let's also let me know how much deeper I should go into this subject. All right. One knows nothing. Nothing. Raven's like, nope, no, nothing. All right. I'm assuming too, a lot of people are just listening. And so I thank you for that. If you're not able to pick up and answer, that is perfectly fine. We will continue. I'm going to take Raven's one as most people want to know. All right. So before getting your business license, you want to get your LLC. That's the first thing you want to do, because many states require you to have a legal entity set up before they can actually issue you a business license. One of the things I've also learned is that different states, the business license, some people have business permits. There's a lot of different things out there. In order to do that, you just go to your Secretary of State website. All right. So getting your LLC set up, some people will charge you an arm and a leg to get it set up. Do not fall for it, you guys. An LLC is one of the easiest things that you can get set up on your own. All right. There's a few questions. It'll ask you for a, God, what's the name of the person? I forgot the legal name of it, but basically it's who is the main person that's overseeing your business. It can be yourself. Some words of caution that the information that you put on your LLC is public. So with that being said, if you put your home address will be public. So there are different ways, and I will talk about it a little bit later, different virtual addresses and the difference, what you can actually use for a virtual address, because some virtual addresses cannot be used for LLCs. Get a PO box, something, but whatever you put on your LLC will be public. Remember that. So when somebody looks up your business, they will have all of your information. So be careful with that. All right. And what is the LLC and why do you need it? Not LLC, not LLC. I can't even think right. Need more information about it. Okay. First, not LLC. I did it a whole different, my mind. Anywho, Brain fart. Sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is super easy to set up. Once again, it's very inexpensive, and it's basically a tax filing status. So you're basically, instead of being billed separately or taxed separately from your business, you're taxed as one. So you and your business are all the same person. So this means that any sort of claims or anything that comes against you, there's no liability protection against it at all. So your personal assets, your home, your car, if somebody was to come and sue you, all of that can be taken. It's also hard to raise money if you have a sole proprietorship. And also you get limited business credit. Limited business credit if you have a sole proprietorship. Wait, there are some things that it's okay to have sole proprietorship. If you have things that are very low liability, I mean, if you have a knitting business, you're knitting hats, I don't know, something like that. But anything, especially if you have a candle business, having an LLC is huge, 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 huge. With that, uh, uh, we're going to save that question or email that question to support@blacksunflower.com. I want to stay on task for this, but I definitely do want to answer your question. Definitely. Um, the next one is, oops, hold on real quick. That thing came up. There we go. Sorry, I clicked out of where I was at and had to go back in. All right. Now, for your registered agent is the thing I was talking about. I am so slow. Registered agent was what I was looking for. I had a brain fart for a second there. That's the joys of being live, right, you guys? The joys of being live, and coming to forming your whole business entity and whatnot. So, back to what we were talking about, LLCs. If you have any sort of business, I mean, I definitely want to establish my LLC, definitely. If you have any sort of liability, most businesses, I say go with a LLC, because one is passed through taxation. So basically, your profits and your losses pass through your personal tax return. So you're not being double taxed, which is very important, because those things ain't cheap, right? You do have to renew every year with your LLC. And so the articles of incorporation that you have to do with them, um, it's very easy, you guys. You just have to go to your web. Yes, registered agent was the one I was looking for. You can be your own registered agent. You don't have to pay anybody to be a registered agent. You don't have to pay anybody to put together your LLC. Go to your Secretary of State website, just get it done. Super simple. Okay. And if, let's say, you really, really needed some help, ask around in your friends. I'm pretty sure somebody, especially there are a lot of business resources like the small SBA, Small Business Administration, things like that. That's one of the things that I would not say pay anybody to do. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. Don't pay anybody to do this. If you've passed school, you know how to write your name on your paper, you can fill out the paperwork. You fill out the paperwork and you'll be good. The other ones are like a corporation. Don't need to worry about that. Also, some people talk about an S corp. You don't really need to worry about that until you reach a certain level of revenue. And one thing is, when you do transition from a LLC to an S corp, you have different stipulations that you have to follow. So it's one of those things that when you decide you want to be an S corp, make sure that you understand it as a commitment. Um, it's one of those things where I see a lot of people want to be identified. It's like having a certain status, right? It does you no good if it's going to cause you harm in the long run or make things harder. So just because somebody says, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And here's another thing, everyone's going to have an opinion on what you should do for your business. In the end, I'm not going to say you actually know what's best, but make sure you consult with somebody who actually has been there and done it. Because there's a lot of people out here teaching business who have not had a successful business on their own. I'm just going to leave that there. Okay. Getting your business license. Where do you get it? All right. After you have whatever legal structure you've decided to set up for your business, you go to your city's website, whether like here, City of Seattle, so on and so forth. You get your business license. What's the cost? The costs vary depending on where you're at. Some people call them business permits, but that's basically so the state knows you're a legit business and you can be taxed, right? Some businesses require state level licenses. Depending on the type of business you have, they may require different permits. So I actually have a nursery license as well. So I have a nursery permit. So there's other fees that I have to pay because there are other rules that I have to follow. Yes, you guys, I do a lot there, but just depending. And so, how do you know whether you need these certain permits? As you're filling it out, it's going to ask you particular questions. Once again, I would not pay anybody to fill out your business license for you. If you could put your name on your paper, and you guys, there's Chat GPT. You better screenshot, highlight, copy it, throw it into Chat GPT, and say, explain this to me like I'm a kindergartner. If you do not get it, do not pay anybody to put together your business license for you. They are ripping you off. Now, I will say, if you are just overwhelmed with time and you just want somebody to do it for you, cool. But if you're having somebody do it because you think that you don't understand it, that's the first part of business. If you're running a business, you need to find and utilize the resources that you need in order to make things happen. I need to provide my personal tax information. This was when including a personal address, right? What if I use a virtual address? So the personal tax information, you don't need to provide that with the LLC. And also, if I'm not, it depends on where you're at. Let me change what I'm saying. Some states might require personal tax information. If I'm mistaken, in Washington State, they do not. But if anything that you're filling out for your business, utilize a business address. Let me just leave it at that, because most stuff that you fill out for your business is public knowledge. And if you don't want that being shown, use a virtual address. And I'm going to give you guys some options for that in a little bit as well. The next thing you want to do is get your EIN. After you get your business, you get your LLC, you get your business license, you'll be able to get your EIN. It's like a social security number for your business. This will allow you to get a bank account. This is how you're taxed. This is how the state knows to take your money. This is also a way to basically, it's a way for the IRS to identify your business. I love ChatGPT too. And you guys, by the way, don't stick to just ChatGPT. There's Gemini, there's Perplexity, there's so many of them. And we'll dive deeper into that later. I love AI. Let's see, what else do we want to cover here that is super important? That is pretty much it. Any other questions? The main things I want you to take from this is most people, I feel, should get an LLC. If you have something for tax purposes, do I need to provide my personal tax information? So if you're filling out taxes and your business is an LLC, you'll be providing your EIN number instead of your personal tax information. If you're set up as a sole proprietorship, when you're filling out any sort of information, it will be your social security number. So it'll be your personal. I hope that answered the question for that. Any other questions that you guys have before we move on to the next? Is this helping you guys? Are you guys enjoying this? Can I get some hearts? Can I get some emojis? Let me know you guys are here. Let me know this information is resonating. As we move on to the next section, I need to get some energy. I know you guys are listening intently because I can see the numbers in here moving, going up and down. People are in here listening, and we got quite a few people watching over here on YouTube. So just let me know you're here, and we're going to move on to the next section, which will be, I'm going to skip over the EIN because we already talked about that. It's very simple. You just go to the IRS website, click, I want to get an EIN, and you fill out the information. Once again, if you can put your name on the paper, you can complete this information. It's going to ask you for information that you should have already completed, information for your LLC, business address, so on and so forth. We talked about business license. The other one, a reseller's permit. So if you are a business who is purchasing materials to make something to resell it, you technically shouldn't be paying taxes on that information or on those products, because it's just being double taxed. You're paying taxes to purchase the information or to purchase the products, and then it's being taxed again. And I want to also, we'll do one thing at a time. Reseller's permit. You need to get your reseller's permit. Where do you get it? The same place that you get your business license from. The reseller permit will allow you everything from Zoom to pretty much if you're a candle maker, Candle Science, any place. And if you don't see an option for it, usually at checkout, sometimes it'll be really, really tiny. It'll say submit for tax exemption. You click that and it'll have you fill out information. A lot of times you can just email customer support. Um, if you email customer support, then what will happen is they'll give you the information. It's like, hey, I want to provide my reseller's permit. Every single place that you purchase stuff from, you should provide your reseller's permit, because why are you paying tax on these items? Especially when you start purchasing a lot of stuff, it adds up. So get your reseller's permit, especially when you, and on the other hand, if you're purchasing wholesale from other companies. Now, here's the thing that gets me. A lot of people don't realize this. There's this thing called Nexus. Nexus means the states that you're allowed to collect taxes in. For example, if you were to order something off of blacksunflower.com and you live in Washington State, I can tax you. If you purchase something from blacksunflower.com and you live in California, I can't tax you because I do not hold Nexus in that state. In order to hold Nexus in that state, you would have to have sales of a certain amount. It's usually a couple hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think it's average between 100,000, 200,000, sometimes more of sales from that particular state in order for it to happen. Then that means you have to set up and register to pay taxes in that state. If you are charging, and I've seen this, I've had to call a few people on it. If you are charging taxes in a state that you do not have Nexus in, essentially you're stealing, because you're collecting taxes that you are never going to pay back to said state. When you're setting up your payment system, whether it's Shopify or whatever, make sure you're only setting up to charge taxes in the state that you're in. Okay. Um, Collecting taxes, right? Making sure you're charging the appropriate sales tax rate on the right goods that are sold to your customers. Make sure you're remitting taxes, making sure that you're understanding, are your taxes, do you file them quarterly? Do you file them or do you file them annually? Do you file them every 2? Like, it depends. And they will tell you when you complete your business license, they will tell you when you're supposed to file your taxes, right? Make sure you keep good record keeping of all your sales, your purchases, the tax that is collected. TaxJar is a really good program to utilize that integrates with a lot of different systems. When in doubt, right? I'm not saying you have to have a bookkeeper all the time, but when in doubt, ask somebody. This is one thing I would pay somebody for, because if you don't understand it,